Hello and welcome to a special edition of India Today from Ukraine. I'm Gaurav Sawant. This special edition comes to you from war-torn Bucha. India Today's biggest team of reporters on ground will get you reports from across Ukraine. I'm in Bucha. Mosby Singh is en route Odessa. Geeta Mohan reports from Mariupol in the Donetsk region, and Rajesh Pawar is in Kiev. And over the course of the next half hour, we get you a series of ground reports from across Ukraine.
This factory was hit in the morning by a Russian missile, and still the fire is burning.
This is a residential block, and this has been shelled completely. Virtually every house shattered.
This entire place was attacked, came under attack. This is under Russian control now.
3 guided Russian missiles were shot down by Ukrainian forces.
4 reporters' unmissable broadcast. Putin unleashes hellscape in Bucha. Kyiv, Borodyanka turn ghost towns. Uncompromising reports from war zone. Fearless on the front line.
Not just Bucha, but Ukraine is yet to come to terms with the massacre and the scenes of destruction and devastation that took place here in Bucha, in neighboring Irpin and Hostomel. The world was shocked with images of mass graves. Not just Ukraine, but even the United States has accused Russia of war crimes. Russia, of course, says that these are engineered pictures, and this is a part of information warfare being waged by Ukraine at the behest of the United States of America and the North Atlantic Treaty Organization countries. But will truth emerge? Ukraine has demanded an international investigation for truth to emerge. On day 42 of the conflict, Bucha remains the epicenter of investigations. International teams are coming to Bucha to carry out forensic examinations of bodies that have been recovered. You also have ambulances that are going from house to house, door to door. Their effort is to speak to people inside and find out who requires assistance. We've been told in several houses people are even unable to come out and ask for assistance. Also, gradually people returning home in Bucha. What's extremely significant is President Zelensky of Ukraine has sought international assistance to carry out an independent investigation. Forensic investigators have been sought from several countries to come to Bucha and gather information and intelligence and evidence against Russia for alleged war crimes. According to the government in Ukraine, it's the 64th Motorized Division that had its brigades here in Bucha, and international investigations are actually going door to door. One, gathering information in terms of evidence that people may want to give, also video evidence, and 2, when postmortems are carried out, evidence is being gathered of crimes against women, crimes against innocents in terms of their hands being tied behind their backs before they were shot dead. All of that evidence is being gathered, and teams of doctors are also going to help people. For example, this is the ICRC, the International Committee of the Red Cross, that's also going to provide medicines and other assistance that people may require. In Bucha, on day 42 of the Russia-Ukraine conflict, with cameraman Lalit Mohan Joshi, Gaurav Sawant for India Today. It's not just here in Bucha or in Irpin, but from across Ukraine, people from this war-ravaged country are coming together to help each other. For example, at Stoyanka, not far from Bucha, I caught up with a group of youngsters, some school students, college students, a church group. They've all come together from Rivne. Their locality too has been targeted in this conflict, but they've pieced together some relief material for friends, relatives and others in Irpin and in Bucha. I spoke to them a short while back. Let's listen in. We are currently at Stoyanka, again, one of the worst impacted places in the Russian shelling that took place at Irpin, Bucha, Hostomel. Look at the destruction all around us. A lot of effort will have to be put in to rebuild this place. Every building, even in Stoyanka, has been shattered in very intense artillery battles and infantry attacks and rocket and missile attacks that took place in this area. But a lot of relief material is also flowing in. For example, we have a group of aid workers here from Rivne. This is a church group that has come in. But look at the fact is they themselves were adversely impacted in Russian shelling and fighting, and yet they've come forward to help the people of Irpin and Bucha. And sir, what's your name?
Oleg.
Oleg.
Anna.
Anna.
Arina.
Arina.
Artem.
Artem.
Alexander.
Alexander. Are you students?
Yeah, three of us are students.
And you are headed to Irpin or Bucha?
We are heading to Irpin.
To Irpin.
Yes.
What all are you carrying to Irpin with you?
I will answer. So we are carrying humanitarian help. This is food, fuel, generators, tools to help people to rebuild, to clean the space, like houses, because lots of them are destroyed now.
And this comes at a time when your own homes in Rivne have also been targeted in the missile and rocket attacks, right?
Yes. A few times we were under target, target of this missiles.
But since Irpin and Bucha were badly impacted, you've come forward to help. So who's funding this?
We are from church, so church support us. And in this town in Pin, we go to our friends, so we know them and we want to help. Even though we was targeted, and we also...
That's actually the human spirit, and I'd like to show you, for a moment, apart from water bottles and food, kind of dry rations, breads, buns, jam, butter, vegetables, there is fuel. There are generators because there is still no electricity either in Irpin or in Bucha because of electricity lines being disrupted.
Yes.
What else have you heard about the situation on ground?
We heard that this is awful and lots of deaths. People are dead. I don't know what about Irpin, but I know that the situation in Bucha is really awful. And we heard about this a few days ago, and we were personally, I was destroyed and cried because I know that lots of people, lots of kids, women, men, old people, they were just killed. Very notorious news.
So aren't you scared about going to an area which still has a lot of bombs?
Анечка.
Ні,
я не налякана, я скоріше обурена.
No, she isn't scared. We aren't scared, but we just for us, furious because of this. It's our land, it's our people.
Okay. What makes you so furious?
Well, actually, I've got my apartment in Irpin, so I moved from Irpin a month ago, a day when the war started. So I just want to see my friends, my neighbors, my apartment.
Are they still there, or we were told most people had left?
Some of them are still there. These are Christians. They serve people. They serve as volunteers and pastors.
So they're still there.
Yeah.
I saw one church that's still operational in Irpin. It's an Orthodox church, Baptist church. Okay, that's there. So which means there are two churches that are still operational. But I wish you all the best. There are volunteers like this, and just look at the destruction all around. There are bullet marks, there are shell marks, there are shrapnel marks all over, and there's hardly a building that hasn't been destroyed in this area. So Stoyanka, Irpin, Bucha, Hostomel, one belt after the other targeted. Just look around across the road. Those buildings have been targeted very, very badly. We'll move closer and show you some other stuff. So for example, now there is military hardware that continues to flow into this country. As you can see that tanks, armored personnel carriers and self-propelled howitzers continue to be taken, and the information we are getting is that some of these SP howitzers are now being taken to the Belarus border as those borders get restored. But one after the other, you can see whether it's fire brigades or ambulances or emergency vehicles, they continue to go into Irpin and Bucha to help those still trapped inside or to carry out investigation in cases of those killed in this deadly conflict between Russia and Ukraine. With cameraman Lalit Mohan Joshi at Stoyanka, Ukraine, Gaurav Sawant for India Today. Russia is in the line of global fire for what happened here in Bucha and in adjoining Irpin and Hostomel. Ukraine has raised the issue of the alleged genocide here at Bucha. Several other countries, including the United States and the United Kingdom and members of the European Union, sought stricter sanctions against Russia. In its defense, Russia continues to maintain that there was no massacre or killing of innocent civilians and bystanders when Russia was in control of Bucha between the 24th of February till the 31st of March. Russia has countered these allegations, saying this is a part of information warfare being waged by Ukraine at the behest of the United States of America.
Streets strewn with corpses. Bodies buried in shallow graves. Burned bodies left in the open. The grisly images of battered Bucha have sparked global outrage. Ukraine has raised the Russian brutality in Bucha at the United Nations Security Council. Kyiv has urged the UN to strip Russia of its veto power.
The
UN system must be reformed immediately so that the right of veto will not become the right of a death, so that there is a fair representation of all world regions in the Security Council.
After India today reported the barbaric killings, New Delhi joined the world in slamming the killings. India Today report resonated in the parliament when External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, without naming Russia, expressed deep anguish over the bloodbath, calling for an independent investigation and immediate end to hostilities.
We strongly condemn the killings which have taken place there. This is an extremely serious matter, and we support the call for an independent investigation. We encourage talks between Ukraine and Russia, including at the level of their presidents. Prime Minister has spoken to them both himself in this regard. This was precisely the message that was conveyed to Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov when he was in Delhi. If India can be of any assistance in this matter, we will be glad to contribute.
Moscow is facing global revulsion and accusations of war crimes after the Russian pullout from the outskirts of Kyiv revealed horrors inflicted on the civilian population. The UK has urged G7 to ban Russian ships and set a timetable for oil and gas exit.
On Thursday, I will be urging our NATO and G7 partners to go further in sanctions by joining us in banning Russian ships from our ports, cracking down on more Russian banks, going after industries that are filling Putin's war chest, like gold, and agreeing a clear timetable to eliminate imports of Russian oil, coal and gas.
Germany, France and Spain have expelled dozens of Russian diplomats following the Bucha killings.
I announced that this morning we have decided to expel Russian diplomats and staff from the Russian embassy in Spain, who represent a threat to the interest and security of our country.
The United States is seeking to expel Russia from the UN Human Rights Council.
Yes, the president does not believe, he believes it's ludicrous for Russia to be a member of the Human Rights Council. And certainly the ambassador spoke to this today, and while she was on her overseas trip, and she will continue to make the case in her role when she returns to New York.
Russia has rejected all the charges. Kremlin claims Bucha is a monstrous forgery aimed at maligning Russia.
Российской стороны в адрес российских военных.
The entire course of events, a huge amount of data, facts and other parameters do clearly witness that this is a forgery conducted to try and smear the Russian army. It will not work.
Russia is facing other grave charges too. The UN has accused Russia of using cluster bombs in Ukraine.
OHCHR has received credible allegations that Russian forces have used cluster munitions in populated areas at least 24 times.
Cluster munitions pose an immediate threat to civilians during a conflict. Such bombs randomly scatter submunitions or bomblets over a wide area. The Convention on Cluster Munitions is an international treaty that prohibits all use, transfer, production and stockpiling of cluster bombs. World leaders are calling for tougher sanctions and accountability for alleged Russian war crimes in Bucha. Bureau Report, India Today.
Battle underway between Russian and Ukrainian forces in the Donbass region, that is Donetsk and Luhansk oblasts. While the Ukrainian missile attacks in neighborhoods within Donetsk city have impacted people very, very hugely, there are other areas like Volvanaka that have been impacted and turned to rubble with the Russian attacks and the response by the Ukrainian side. Both sides are fighting for space. As of now, Russia is in control of major parts of the Donbass region, but Ukraine giving Russia a tough fight. Massive shelling, massive operation over here in Elianka. You can see there, smoke still billowing. This entire camp was attacked. It had a lot of tanks, armored vehicles, Ural trucks, and artillery carrier vehicles as well has been attacked. So officers over here trying to now assess the situation. They're trying to retrieve all the armored vehicles, artillery carriers and tanks as soon as they can and save as many as they can. But if you see over here, the situation pretty bad. The forces have moved out of here and they're trying to retrieve as many as they can. This is also a base camp where captured Ukrainian tanks and armored vehicles were brought in and then were sent for repair and then to be reused. So a very important camp over here has come under Ukrainian attack. I'm being joined by Officer Ilya, who will explain what really happened over here and how are they trying to contain the Ukrainian forces.
Дальнейшие наши действия идти вперед и только вперед, не останавливаясь. Занимать непосредственно, возвращать непосредственно границы Донецкой Народной Республики, как говорится, в свои земли.
So the only action he is planning now, he knows that we're gonna continue to push and taking back our grounds, which is must be under public control.
There was major shelling over here. Now, what is the sounds? What are they doing? Are they diffusing? Are they detonating? What are they doing?
Сейчас звуки хлопков происходят. Сейчас это что это происходит сейчас?
Это непосредственно это сейчас в данный момент происходят действия наступательного характера.
So, okay, let's wait a bit, okay? So the thing is, you're asking about what is happening here, but it's not the same you wanna ask now at the moment. So they do other questions or.
Okay, so ask him how many Ukrainian soldiers Were they, this was his force, his team? How many Ukrainian soldiers did his team capture?
Есть у вас вообще за время операции, были украинские пленные у вас?
Да, были много десятков, потому что наш полк уже порядка 17 населенных пунктов, это не считая те, которые мы прошли, 17 населенных пунктов мы взяли боями.
So they took around 17 villages and small...
Надо прекращать.
Okay, let's stop it.
Thank you, sir.
Bucha will take a long time to recover. The entire country and members of several European Union countries have come together to help Bucha stand on its feet once again, but that's easier said than done. A quick break. There's lots more coming up on the other side of these messages on this India Today special broadcast from Bucha. Stay with us.
The Russian invasion has taken its toll on President Zelensky as well. The biggest indicator is how his attire has changed from a president in a suit to a leader leading from the front, sometimes in olive green t-shirts and army gears. Here's a report on the transformation of the fearless President Zelensky.
A clean-shaven President Zelensky in his suit and tie addressed his nation on February 22nd amid gathering Russian war clouds. Weeks later, dressed in an army jacket, a bulletproof vest, an unkempt beard, and often sporting a bulletproof army helmet, this is President Zelensky reinventing himself, changing his attire as per the need to lead his nation locked in a fierce fight back. The war has taken a toll on the sartorial sense of President Volodymyr Zelensky, transforming a suave, urbane and nattily dressed president in a tailored suit into a wartime president in combat fatigue, battle-ready and boosting the morale of his forces.
Ukraine is defending and would not give its freedom, whatever they think in Moscow. Russia cowardly attacked our country early in the morning, very much like Nazi Germany did during the Second World War.
Presidents do not usually write down addresses like this, but today I have to say just that, to talk about the discoveries in Bucha and other cities from where the occupiers were expelled. Hundreds of people tortured, killed, and civilians executed. Bodies on the street. Booby-trapped areas. Even the bodies of the dead are booby-trapped. Widespread aftermath of looting. Concentrated evil has visited our land. The killers, executioners, rapists, murderers, who call themselves an army and who deserve only death after what they have done.
Zelensky has also traded his suit for a plain green round-neck t-shirt, popular with soldiers ever since Russia waged war on Ukraine. From addressing the United Nations, the US Congress, the EU Parliament and the Grammys, the wartime president Zelensky's dressing sense has made him a cult figure for those who back Ukraine, sending a message that the wartime president is leading from the front.
The UN system must be reformed immediately so that the right of veto will not become the right of a death, so that there is a fair representation of all world regions in the Security Council.
Zelensky's military round-neck t-shirt has become a fashion trend as well, making it popular for t-shirt motif across the world. The change in appearance for a president is usually that of graying hair, but Zelensky's transformation shows how times are tough for Ukraine. And what can be a better symbol of hope and strength than an olive green shirt-clad president who switches into combat dress in solidarity? A connect between the president and the army fighting for the motherland. Choosing the most accessible government around, Zelensky's message is clear. He's in solidarity with Ukrainians. Bureau Report, India Today.
Well, that is all we have time for on this special broadcast from Bucha in Ukraine. Many thanks for watching. For the latest news and updates, stay with India Today.